This is Mrs. Lopez. We're going to look at theme in poetry. So we need to use details in the text, including how a speaker in a poem reflects upon a topic. So poetry has its own set of rules for theme. There are often not elements of fiction like a problem for the speaker of the poem to react to. Instead, the speaker of the poem may tell us how they feel about a topic using figurative language. Ask questions to find what the theme the author left for the readers. So this is My Shadow by Robert Louis Stevenson, written in 1915. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grows, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to a nursie as the shadow sticks to me. One morning, very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup, but my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. So the topic, what is the poem about? Which is not the same as the theme, but just what are we talking about here? And we're talking about a child's shadow. So whose shadow is it? It's the shadow of a child. What words and phrases did the author use to describe the shadow? Well, the author uses a number of things, saying that it's like me, funniest, hasn't got a notion, shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, coward, sticks to me, lazy little shadow, sleepyhead. Then I'm going to think about, is this topic about the author, or is it a made-up character? In the same way, if I was looking at a poem that was about a historic event, is it made up, or did it really happen? You can have poetry about so many things, but you need to question, like, what's reality, what really happens, and then put it all together. So this poem is most likely made up, and the author is remembering what it's like to be a child. This doesn't sound like the poetry of a child so much as an adult thinking like a child. So if we put this all together, the topic is a shadow. The speaker, so the speaker of a poem is not the author, but in the same way that it would be the narrator of a book. Whose point of view is this from? And this is from the point of view of a child. And what words do they use that help us determine, like, what opinion words, what words have a connotation? So it's talking about the shadow shooting up, that it's funny, that it's a coward. And so the theme of the poem here will be childhood, curiosity, and discovery. And where is that coming from? Well, it's wondering about things like, well, this is so funny, the way that a shadow, it just, like, grows tall and then gets short again and then grows tall again. Like, that's a funny thing. I wonder why it does that. And then saying that, like, a shadow doesn't know how to play with you, and then he sticks to you, that in a way, like a baby might stick to a nurse, and the child saying, I wouldn't do that. That's something that a coward would do. And so putting that all together, if you step back away from it, you can see how the author is trying to show the way that a child thinks about something that they don't understand, which is where that childhood curiosity and discovery as the overall theme of the poem comes together.